Hi there! So today I'm going to be talking about the 3 steps to getting recognized as a projector. So if you are a projector in human design, you know that your strategy is wait to be invited. But in order to be invited, we need to be recognized. And that it can be a little tricky. It can be a little tricky to navigate. So I wanted to talk about 3 steps that we can take to help you get recognized and then invited. Because oftentimes as projectors, we will get recognized for things we don't necessarily want to be recognized for, or we've been conditioned into being manifestors and getting in touch with that masculine energy and going out and just getting what we want and, going after what we want rather than sitting back more in that feminine energy and waiting for it to come to us. And so, yes, there can be some pitfalls with that. And I fell into both of those things as a mental projector. And so I just wanted to talk first a little bit about my experience throughout my life as a mental projector before I started living my design. And so my name is Stacey, and I'm a mental projector, and I'm also a Heilkunst practitioner and creator of the Express Your Truth 8-Step Emotional Empowerment Program. And so I specialize basically in helping people express their emotions in a healthy way, which is part of my human design chart, which is really exciting. And so I'm basically living my design in all ways that I possibly can. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about my experiment with that. So the first half of my life, I was being recognized for more external things than more internal things, more superficial things than more than things of value. And so as a young person, I'm also what's called a phosphorus constitution. And so if you want to know what phosphorus constitutions are, I'll leave the link to that video below in the description box. But phosphorus constitutions in general are they have sort of an open, engaging manner, which can be appealing to the opposite sex. And so I discovered that at a very young age. And so, I wasn't getting recognized for much other than that. And so I really, as we have this experience, we're sort of, as kids, we're looking at how the outside world is treating us, and we're forming beliefs about ourselves, false beliefs generally. And so mine was all around, I really attached my self-worth to how much attention I can get from the opposite sex. And so much of my life and so much of my energy was geared towards getting that external validation. And I wasn't valued or seen for anything else that I had to offer. And, like in high school, I was a first class honor roll student, but most of my friends thought I was, this ditzy blonde, and people would be surprised when I would get awards in school. Like, oh, you're smart? So I really wasn't being seen for who I was. I wasn't being valued for what I had to contribute or what I had to say. And so, I just really it was all about that external validation. And so that went on until about between 28 and 30, things started to shift. And there's a reason for that, because if you know Rudolf Steiner, he talks about how, from birth to 21, our physical body is developing. And then at 21, we start our soul phases. And from 21 to 28, we are working on what's called our sentient soul phase. And so the sentient soul phase is all about external experiences. So going out and finding your place in the world and having these externally based experiences. And so what I was doing was very externally driven. So it was based in the sentient soul phase, but not in a healthy way. So at 30, I left a marriage I was in, and I moved across the country, and I discovered Heilkunst medicine. And so Heilkunst is all about finding what they call your objective desire function. And that's a very unromantic way of saying your soul's purpose. And so it removes the disease blockages, the false beliefs that stop us from being in alignment with our objective desire function. And so this just began to unfold for me, and I really started to get into helping women express themselves in a healthy way emotionally, because most of us haven't learned how to do that. And I'm an undefined emotional center, so I have the ability to become very wise about expressing emotions. And so, and then when I discovered human design, I was like, oh, I'm meant to be doing this. This is my objective desire function. It was just sort of yeah, it was validating what I was doing, which is really exciting. And so that is basically the first step in getting recognized, is figuring out what you want to be recognized for. So the first half of my life, I was being recognized for the fact that I was a phosphorus constitution and I was appealing to the opposite sex. So it was all external stuff that I was being recognized for. And obviously that's a very shallow way to live. And so once I got clear about what it was I wanted to be valued for, then things just, I started to get recognized for something that was so much more satisfying, obviously. And so you have to get in touch with your objective desire function. Easy, right? So, I mean, Heilkunst is amazing for that, helping to remove the disease blockages and it was help to build up your sense of self and remove these false beliefs so that you can get in alignment with your objective desire function. Also, Human Design obviously is wonderful for that. So if you haven't gotten your chart read already, I would get your chart read, and that will give you some insight into what it is that you're meant to be doing here, because everybody is meant to be doing something that only they can do in a way that only they can do it. And so, yeah, first step is figuring that out. Step 2 is a biggie. It is valuing what it is you have to offer. And I see this a lot in people. They're sort of waiting to be saved by somebody else, or in the case of a projector, waiting to be recognized by somebody else so that then they can see that within themselves. But it starts with us. We can't wait for someone to come along and recognize that beauty or genius within us. We have to recognize it. And so once we recognize it, then other people around us can recognize it. So that's all about, building up your sense of self and getting in alignment with your soul's purpose. Because once you're sort of being inspired and doing the work that your soul is meant to do, is inherently valuable. And so once you're in alignment with that, it's like you've got to share it. You've got to get it out there because it's what you're meant to be doing. And so then that brings me to the third step, is getting yourself out there. So as projectors, we're kind of told that we have to sit and wait to be invited. And yes, I mean, that is true to an extent, but we also have to be visible so that people are able to recognize and invite us. And so if we just hide in our house and sit on our couch and wait to be invited, we're not going to get very many invitations. And so once you get in alignment with what you're meant to be doing and you are rock solid within that and not being swayed by other people's opinions, you can start to really put that out there in a way that's effective. And so for me, for example, once I got really clear about what it is, what my message was, what I wanted to be doing, what I wanted to be sharing with the world, I got so inspired and so excited to do it. I would put videos out there. People would see my videos. They would invite me to do podcasts, and then people would see these and they'd invite me to work with them. And so once I started to become visible, I started to get a lot more invitations. Okay, so basically the first step is to really get in touch with how and what you want to be recognized for. Step 2 is really valuing and recognizing yourself. And then the third step is getting yourself out there, but really balancing that in a way that isn't very masculine driven. And so as projectors, we are supposed to do a lot of, studying and taking in information. And so balancing that with also getting your message out there. I found that when I first started my practice, I was really going to a lot of networking events, and I was going to a lot of trade shows, and it was very masculine, energy driven, and it drained me. I didn't have a lot of energy for that. As a projector, you wouldn't. And I couldn't figure out why. Like, I was coming up against all this resistance. Nothing was happening. I was ready to throw in the towel. And so I just, took a step back and really started to ground myself in my Heilkunst studies and, sort of studied things on the periphery of Heilkunst. And then I started to get people. And then that started to build up my confidence, and then I was able to start to get my message out there in a different way. YouTube videos are a great way to do that for a projector. All right, so I hope that this helps you in starting to live your strategy. And yeah, subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't done so already, and if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, and I will talk to you soon.